Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. We start today's satsang with a prayer which will be chanted by Srimati Sapna Ganesh. This will be followed by the chanting of Muktaka trayam.
दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमां रमणाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय. नमो रमणा to everyone.
एकमक्षरं हृदि निरन्तरम् भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् ह्यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं. Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Upadesa Saram by Uma Sripathy.
नमो रमण.
இதமஹம் பதா விக்யமன்வஹம் அஹமிலீனகே பிரளய சத்தயா விக்ரஹேந்திரியா प्राणदीतमा नाहमेकसत् तच्चडं ह्यसत् सत्त्वभासिका चित्क्ववेतरा सत्तया हि चेत् चित्तया ह्यहम् ईशजीवयोर्वेषधीभिदा सत्स्वभावतो वस्तु केवलम् वेषहानता स्वात्मदर्शनम् ईशदर्शनम् स्वात्मरूपत आत्मसंस्थिति स्वात्मदर्शनम् आत्मनिर्द्वयादात्मनिष्ठता ज्ञानवर्जिता अज्ञानहीन चेत् ज्ञानमस्ति किं ज्ञातुमन्तरम् किं स्वरूपम् इत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भवा अपूर्णचित्सुखम् बन्धमुक्त्यतीतं परं सुखम् विन्दति ह जीवस्तु दैविक अहमपेतकम् निजविभानकम् महदिदं तपो रमणभागियम्. नमो रमण.
Namo Ramana. We will now have 4 songs from Ramananjali Sangeetam. The first song will be presented by Srimati B. Radha. The second song will be presented by Pratibha Sundaresh. The third song will be presented by Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan. Fourth song will be presented by Revathi Sankar.
Namo Ramana to all. Today I will be singing a song written by Sri Guhai Namah Shivaya. The music is by Dr. Rajkumar Bharati. It is in Raga Gauda Malhar, set to Aditana. ஆதியருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஆதியருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஐந்தெழுத்தை ஓதி மட நெஞ்சமே உன் ஆதியருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஐந்தெழுத்தை ஓதி மட நெஞ்சமே உன் ஆதியருணகிரி அண்ணலார் நெறியுண்டாம் நல்ல நிலையுண்டாம் நிலையுண்டாம் நெறியுண்டாம் நல்ல நிலையுண்டாம் ஞானக்குறியுண்டாம் எண்ணமெல்லாம் கூடும் செறியுண்டாம் நெறியுண்டாம் நல்ல நிலையுண்டாம் ஞானக்குறியுண்டாம் எண்ணமெல்லாம் கூடும் செறியுண்டாம் ஆதியருணகிரி அண்ணல்லாம் வரம் பலிக்கும் மெய்ஞான வாழ்வே பலிக்கும் திறம் பலிக்கும் செல்வம் பலிக்கும் முரம் பலிக்கும் வரம் பலிக்கும் மெய்ஞான வாழ்வே பலிக்கும் திறம் பலிக்கும் செல்வம் பலிக்கும் முரம் பலிக்கும் சோணாச்சலனை 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 சுவாமி தன்னை உள்ளத்தே காணா கருத்தின் கருத்து ஆதியருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஐந்தெழுத்தை ஓதி மட நெஞ்சமே ஆதியருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் குலமில்லார் வன்மை குணமில்லார் கல்வி நலமில்லார் ஆனாலும் நன்றே குலமில்லார் வன்மை குணமில்லார் கல்வி நலமில்லாரானாலும் நன்றே அரிய திரு கருணை அண்ணனுக்கு ஆளாவர் பெரியவர்க்கு மேலான பேர். அரிய திரு அருணை அண்ணனுக்கு ஆளாவர் பெரியவர்க்கு மேலான பேர். ஆதி அருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஐந்தெழுத்தை ஓதி மடலெஞ்சமே உன் ஆதி அருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஐந்தெழுத்தை ஓதி மடலெஞ்சமே உன் ஆதி அருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஆதி அருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார் ஆதி அருணகிரி அண்ணல்லார். நமோ ரமண.
कर्पूर गौरा करुणावतारा काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. कर्पूर गौरा करुणावतारा काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. त्रयंबकेश्वरा एकांबरेश्वरा त्रयंबकेश्वरा एकांबरेश्वरा. महाबलेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा महाबलेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. ओंकारेश्वरा गंगाधरेश्वरा ओंकारेश्वरा गंगाधरेश्वरा. नीलकंठेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा नीलकंठेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. कर्पूर गौरा करुणावतारा काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. श्रीरामेश्वरा श्रीकामेश्वरा श्रीरामेश्वरा श्रीकामेश्वरा. श्रीवीरेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा श्रीवीरेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. सोमनाथेश्वरा अमरनाथ सोमनाथेश्वरा अमरनाथेश्वरा. केदारनाथेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा केदारनाथेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. कर्पूर गौरा करुणावतारा काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. रमण महर्षि सुत अरुणाचलेश्वरा रमण महर्षि सुत अरुणाचलेश्वरा. दास केशवनूत श्रीरमणेश्वरा दास केशवनूत श्रीरमणेश्वरा. कर्पूर गौरा करुणावतारा काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. कर्पूर गौरा करुणावतारा काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. काशी विश्वेश्वरा अरुणाचलेश्वरा. ओम नमो भगवते श्री रमणाय.
ओम नमो भगवते श्री रमणाय. Bhagavan Ramana is the sun of in all our lives. When there is no sun, meaning to say, when we don't pay attention to the sun, what happens is there is darkness. Bhagavan says, although the sun is present always, when we go in search of sun, we are blind to the sun, he says. So he is the grace-filled, grace personified Ramana, and he is the sun of the self. He is the self. So he is the light in our lives. When I don't see him, I keep pleading to him. I yearn for this light which I don't see. And it feels as if I am lost in the forest of darkness. And I lose myself. I don't have the strength to come out of this darkness. So why don't you come and help me? I'm yearning to see you, is what the poet says in this song. He comes up as the sun. Ramana comes up as the sun. Ramana is the one who rises first, and after which I rise and the whole world rises behind it. And when the whole world subsides, I subside, then only Ramana subsides. The first and the last thought is the self always. In fact, the thought rises from the self and sets back into the self. There is only the self. But we forget to see that self, because on the self there are many veils, many distractions which come, and then we get lost in it. The forest of thoughts which come over and over again makes us lose attention to the self. So we keep searching, where is the light? Where is the light? Bhagavan has given us the Brahmastra of self-enquiry. And holding to that Brahmastra, we keep questioning, who am I? Who am I? Every time the thought arises, the question arises, and then the attention goes back to the self. This process, when it keeps on continuing, there is the presence of Bhagavan who holds our hands and takes us to the self. O Guru Ramana, please come and take me to the self, says Sadhuam Swami in this beautiful song, music by L. Krishnan sir. அருளின் தலைவாரமணேஷா ஆன்மக்கதிரேவாராயோ அருளின் தலைவாரமணேஷா ஆன்மக்கதிரேவாராயோ காட்டுள் இருளில் கண்மயங்கி கதறுகின்றேன் வாராயோ காட்டுள் இருளில் கண்மயங்கி கதறுகின்றேன் வாராயோ அருளின் தலைவாரமணேஷா ஆன்மக்கதிரே வாராயோ அருளின் தலைவா ரமணேஷா ஆன்மக்கதிரே வாராயோ பொழுது விடியும் சூரியனாய் புனிதா வருவாய் வருவாய் என்று பொழுது விடியும் சூரியனாய் பகலை காண பேராசைப்பட்டேன் பகவான் ரமணாவாராயோ. பகலை காண பேராசைப்பட்டேன் ஞான சுடரே வாராயோ. அருளின் தலைவாரமணேஷா ஆன்ம கதிரே வாராயோ. எங்கே எங்கே ஒளி என்றே ஏங்கும் என்னை இருள் நீக்கி அங்கே அழைத்து சென்றிடவே அறிவே ரமணாவாராயோ. அங்கே அழைத்து சென்றிடவே குருவே ரமணாவாராயோ. எங்கே எங்கே ஒளி என்றே ஏங்கும் என்னை இருள் நீக்கி அங்கே அழைத்து சென்றிடவே அறிவே ரமணாவாராயோ. அங்கே அழைத்து சென்றிடவே குருவே ரமணாவாராயோ. அருளின் தலைவாரமணேஷா ஆன்ம கதிரே வாராயோ. ரமணேஷா 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 ரமணேஷா. அருளின் தலைவா ரமணேஷா ஆன்ம கதிரே வாராயோ. Namo Ramana. We will now have the reading and sharing from the book Ramana's Muruganar by Sri Nandakumarji.
Namo Ramana. In this, the book reading segment of our satsang, we continue to read from Ramana's Muruganar, edited and compiled by our founder president, Sri Arati. We have been reading through the account of one of our founder members, founder directors, Sulathana Natarajanamma. The account is called Ramana through Muruganar. We have come to the last part of that. Amma writes, I will conclude with the Mangalam, auspicious song, Ramana Tirupalland. Glory to the primal source, Adi Paraparat. Glory to the embodiment of the Supreme. Glory to the one who came to redeem mankind. Glory to Bhagavan Ramana, our master. I will conclude with the Mangalam, auspicious song, Ramana Tirupalland. Glory to the primal source, Adi Parapara. Glory to the embodiment of the Supreme. Glory to the one who came to redeem mankind. Glory to Bhagavan Ramana, our master. We begin the account of Shardaka. This is a short and sweet account entitled My Meeting with Sri Muruganar. My meeting with Sri Muruganar, Dr. Sharda. Sri Ramana's grace has made me visit Arunachala many times from my childhood, and ever since it has been my favorite place. Sri Ramana's grace has made me visit Arunachala many times from my childhood, and ever since it has been my favorite place. Some time back, when I started reading a few religious books, I went through Sri B.V. Narasimha Swami's Self-realization. After reading it, I felt inspired to do self-enquiry and felt that I could accept Sri Bhagavan as my Guru. Some time back, when I started reading a few religious books, I went through Sri B.V. Narasimha Swami's Self-realization. After reading it, I felt inspired to do self-enquiry and felt that I could accept Sri Bhagavan as my Guru. But since the Hindu scriptures emphasize the need for taking formal mantra initiation from a Guru, it was decided that Sri Muruganar should be consulted on the subject. Hence, when we visited the ashram during the last vacation, June 1973, we went to meet Sri Muruganar. When the question, is it enough if I take Sri Bhagavan as my Guru and do Atma Vichara, was posed before the great poet saint, he was extremely moved. When the question, is it enough if I take Sri Bhagavan as my Guru and do Atma Vichara, was posed before the great poet saint, he was extremely moved. With tears welling up in his eyes, he said in a voice choked with emotion, enough, enough, 100% sufficient. He paused for a minute and again emphasized the point by saying that it was even more than 100% sufficient. Enough, enough, 100% sufficient. He paused for a minute and again emphasized the point by saying that it was even more than 100% sufficient. He further said that Sri Bhagavan is the only everlasting illumination within us. His presence is the only existence everywhere and for all the time. We sang a few songs on Sri Bhagavan from Sri Ramana Sannidhi. Muruganar got very emotional and tears flowed from his eyes. I can never forget this incident in my life, and it will always remain vivid in my mind. I am thankful for the golden opportunity I got of seeing Muruganar before his samadhi and asking him my doubt, which would otherwise have remained unanswered. I will repeat it from the question. When the question, is it enough if I take Sri Bhagavan as my Guru and do Atma Vichara, was posed before the great poet said, he was extremely moved. With tears welling up in his eyes, he said in a voice choked with emotion, enough, enough, 100% sufficient. He paused for a minute and again emphasized the point by saying that it was even more than 100% sufficient. He further said that Sri Bhagavan is the only everlasting illumination within us. His presence is the only existence everywhere and for all time. We sang a few songs on Sri Bhagavan from Sri Ramana Sannidhi. Muruganar got very emotional and tears flowed from his eyes. I can never forget this incident in my life, and it will remain vivid in my mind. I am thankful for the golden opportunity I got of seeing Muruganar before his samadhi and asking him my doubt, which would otherwise have remained unanswered. I hope and pray that Sri Bhagavan's and Sri Muruganar's grace will be with me and help me in the path to realization. I hope and pray that Sri Bhagavan's and Sri Muruganar's grace will be with me and help me in the path to realization. This is written by Dr. Sharda as a school-going girl of 13 years. Mountain Path, October 1973. we go on to the account of Professor K. Swaminathan. Professor K. Swaminathan has entitled his account The Maharishi and Muruganar. The Maharishi and Muruganar, Professor K. Swaminathan. In speaking about Muruganar, one should say something of Sri Ramana Maharishi himself as a central figure in the Tamil spiritual tradition and of the place of poetry in the Indian scheme of things. Sri Ramana is clearly a fruit of Tamil culture with its rigorous intellectual precision and down-to-earth realism, as Sri Ramakrishna is of Bengali culture with its emotional wealth and warmth. The Kural distinguishes sharply between these two modes of human experience. Thiru, that is opulence, and Thelidal, that is clarity. The Kural distinguishes sharply between these two modes of human experience. One is Thiru, that is opulence, and the other is Thelidal, clarity. Vishnu is Alankara Priya, stands for a wide spectrum of prosperity, the power of dharma. Shiva, Abhisheka Priya, stands for clarity, the bright white light of pure awareness, the peace of moksha. Vishnu rejoices in multitudinous variety and complex interrelationships of numbers 2 to infinity, while Shiva's concern is with 0, total absence, and 1, total presence. Vishnu rejoices in multitudinous variety and complex interrelationships of numbers 2 to infinity, while Shiva's concern is with 0, total absence, and 1, total presence. There can be Krishna Prema and Rama Seva, but Shiva admits only of Shivam Adal, becoming Shiva, the Sukhi expiring in the Sukhitva. But in Tamil land, Shiva has also acquired flesh and blood, form and feature. So on, the professor goes, we will restart this account, which is of a total different nature, going right into the culture of Tamil, from which the holy tongue and holy spirit of both Muruganar and Bhagavan arise. So let us start this account, but let's finish by recalling Akka's words. Let me just finish off with Muruganar's assurance to all of us. Is it enough? Akka is asking on behalf of all of us. Is it enough if I take Shri Bhagavan as my Guru and do Atma Uchara? Was posed before the great poet saint. He was extremely moved. With tears swelling up in his eyes, he said in a voice choked with emotion, enough, enough, 100% enough. He paused for a minute and again emphasized the point by saying that it was more than 100% sufficient. Take Bhagavan as Guru and practice Atma Ucharam is what the 13-year-old Akka has asked on behalf of all of us, and got the assurance from the great Muruganar that that is enough, more than enough. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramana. Namo.
Namo Ramana. We will now have a session of self-enquiry, some thoughts about self-enquiry, and practice session of self-enquiry, which will be led by Sri Dileep Simha.
Namo Ramana. Dhyaye Sharada Chandra Sundaramukam Tamraravinde Kshanam Bhaktabhishtavarabhaya Pradakaram कौपीनमात्रोज्ज्वलम् स्वात्मानन्दरसानुभूतिविवशम् सर्वानवद्याङ्गकम् श्रीमन्तं श्रीरमणेश्वरं गुरुवरं योगासनाध्यासितं ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वर ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षातात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युतव पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भगवत्वम्। Namo Ramana. We will commence the evening Atma Vicharam by listening and meditating on Bhagavan's Upadesham as it has been compiled in Guru Vachaka Kovai. And from today we will be looking at his Upadesham from the chapter Meditation on the Truth, and the topic is the secret of karma. Bhagavan's own words: simply to inquire, who is that experiences this karma activity, this alienation, vibhakti, this separation, viyoga, and this ignorance, constitutes in itself the path of karma, bhakti, yoga, and jnana. For when, upon inquiry, the I ceases to be, these, that is karma and so on, are known to be eternally without existence, only abiding as the self is the state of reality. I repeat the verse. Simply to inquire, who is it that experiences this karma, this alienation, this separation, and this ignorance, constitutes in itself the path of karma, bhakti, yoga, and jnana. For when, upon inquiry, the I ceases to be, these, karma and so on, are known to be eternally without existence, only abiding as a self is the state of reality. This is the secret of karma. If at all we are asking or looking for a recipe, what is it we need to remember? And what is it that we need to practice? Bhagavan is conveying similar to how Muruganar Swami have conveyed to Akka that Atma Vichara and relying on Bhagavan would suffice. Similarly, Bhagavan is saying that if there is one thing that we need to remember, and if there is one thing that we need to always practice, that is only the inquiry. What is the inquiry? We may have many activities come and stand in front of us. At all times, we need to inquire, to whom is this? Who am I? We may have a sense of separation, a sense of individuality rise within us and feel as though we are not the self, but an individual with this name and form, with many issues to be, many responsibilities to do, many things to achieve. At all those times, we need to only inquire, to whom is this? Who am I? We may feel a sense of separation, or we may feel we are at ignorance, not having the complete idea of neither the things in the world nor things that are in spiritual in nature. We may find all of that coming again and again in the form of thoughts and ideas and concepts. At all times, we need to only remember one thing. The only knowledge that we need to remember is to ask, is to inquire. And what is that we need to inquire? Having got that knowledge, the only two questions Bhagavan asks us to diligently practice is to inquire, to whom is this? Answer is obviously for me. And thereupon, who am I? And Bhagavan says this oneself is the real path of karma, yoga, bhakti and jnana. So by doing this, we are embarking the journey of all the four yogas at the same time. We are going away from ignorance to jnana. We are going away from viyoga to yoga with the self. We are having the one united bhakti, the para bhakti, and we are practicing the highest in karma, which is to offer whatever idea and thought has raised back to that very one self, Ishwararpitam. So therefore, Bhagavan is saying that this is the most important thing that we need to remember. If at all we have to remember, then remember that we need to inquire. If at all we have to practice, that inquiry would be, to whom is this? Who am I? And if we keep on doing it, then the I, to whom all of these various activities, vibhakti, viyoga, ignorance is appearing, will be found to be unreal. Because the I, which is taking the qualities of the consciousness, the self, appears to exist, appears to have conscious, but limits it to a name and form. But as and when we keep on inquiring, who am I, and we try to find the source of the I, we find that the I really doesn't exist. And therefore, all these activities, vibhakti, viyoga, and ignorance, Bhagavan says, will be found out to be unreal, does not have its own existence. None of them have its own existence, including the I. The only one entity which truly exists is one's own self. And when the consciousness turns its attention from all of this to that pure existence, it finds that the abiding in the self is the only true state of reality. And by not abiding in the self, as long as it gives attention to all these activities, all these vibhaktis, there will be good times and bad times, like a cycle. It will keep appearing one behind the other, one after the other. If we attend to one of it, the other would follow immediately. Therefore, there will be a conscious recognition that none of them have reality. The reality is of oneself, and then therefore to abide in that pure existence, pure consciousness is itself the real secret of karma, or the real practice of karma, bhakti, yoga and jnana. So Bhagavan here is making us recognize this truth, that self-enquiry takes us to the self, makes us abide in our own reality, and in that is the real practice of Jnana, Bhakti, Yoga, and Karma. Bhagwan's immense grace, with which alone we have come to this most direct path. For the next 10 minutes, let us